This kid got his invisibility cloak stolen. There was this one kid at this one school who wore a neon construction vest every day. It wasn't for hunting. He thought it made him invisible. One day he's walking through the hallway wearing the vest like usual, and this bigger kid just rips it off of him. Now, you see, usually most people let this kid vibe because obviously he knew it didn't make him invisible, but it made him feel better. But anyway, so it was stolen off his back, and he felt like he had been exposed to the world for the first time. He won't move, and kids are walking around him. He's legitimately stuck because in his mind, without that vest, he is visible and vulnerable. So this one janitor sees what's going on. He walks straight up to this bully. Hey! Holds out his hand. The bully tries to laugh it off, but this janitor doesn't blink. He just stares him down until the bully gives the vest back. The janitor hands it back to the kid. The kid puts it on and walks away. And just like that, he was invisible once again. This kid's a diabolical genius. There was this kid at one school named Theo, and he had a connect to the front office. Bada bing, bada booty. What? Now his school's lost and found was always stacked. People lose stuff constantly. Phones, AirPods, expensive jackets, you name it. So, come here. Here's how it worked. His friend at the office would text him whenever something good came in. Theo would swing by, take whatever it was, and just walk out with it. Nobody questioned it because he was always hanging around the office anyway. But here's the genius part. His connect at the office, the person that let him know when stuff came in, would let him know when someone came in looking for their stuff. Oh, you lost some AirPods? Yeah, I can't find them anywhere. Okay, one sec. He would then text his friend. His connect would let him know the person's name. Theo would then find them in the hallway. Hey, I hear you're looking for your AirPods. Oh my God, yeah, thanks. I found them. Okay, what? Give me $40 if you want them back. And he would charge these people if they wanted their stuff back. Not the full price, obviously. Now, Theo was pretty savage. People didn't want to mess with him, and they were so desperate to get their stuff back that they paid him. If you go to the principal, I'm gonna beat you up. They paid up every single time. He did that the entire school year. Made over $1,000. The school eventually figured out what he did and this kid was expelled. But by then he had already made his money and he wasn't gonna give it back. Now I normally would say, hey, gotta respect the hustle. But this one's a little shady. What do you think? Have you ever wondered how a middle school science lesson could save an entire building from exploding? This 8th grader named John was sitting in chemistry class learning about natural gas. His teacher explained that rotten egg smell isn't actually natural. They add a chemical called mercaptan so people can detect leaks. Your nose can literally smell it at 1 part per billion. Regardless, John thought this was cool. Hey, that's cool. Well, the very next day, during a science lab in a different science class, he noticed a very faint smell of rotten eggs. He raised his hand and said, Mr. Stevens, I think there might be a gas leak. Well, the teacher brushed it off and said, John, that's probably from a different experiment or you're making things up. No, I'm serious. It smells exactly like what Mr. Zern taught us yesterday. But the teacher told him just to sit down and stop disrupting class, please. So John did something bold. He walked straight to the office and he told the principal, there's a gas leak in the lab. I'm pretty positive. The principal took him very seriously and he pulled the fire alarm himself and evacuated the entire school. Turns out there was a massive gas leak in the science building. The fire department said that if anybody lit a burner, which they were going to, the whole science wing could have exploded. John literally saved the school because he remembered a lesson from the day before. And yeah, that teacher definitely apologized to him. Big time. That's insane. On Friday, Mrs. Gable tried to sound profound. She told the whole class that even when today ends for us, it's still today somewhere else on Earth. She was standing, looking out the windows, trying to sound inspiring. Class, remember, the sun never truly sets on today. Even when we go to sleep in Ohio, it's still very much today in the Pacific. It's a bit of perspective for you, students. Well, fast forward to Monday morning, 8 a.m. Johnny had missed the Sunday night deadline for a very important history essay. Instead of turning it in on Sunday night, he emailed it to Mrs. Gable at 6:30 in the morning on Monday. He got to school and he hoped for the best. Johnny, I got your email. You sent it this morning at 6:30 a.m. Monday. Sunday's over. That's a 0 for lateness, and you know my rule. There are no excuses. Then Johnny cooked. Actually, Mrs. Gable, You told us on Friday that even when today ends here, it's still today somewhere else. And at 6:30 in the morning, it was still 11:30 p.m. in Samoa. So based on your lesson from Friday, it was still turned in on Sunday. You could literally hear the gears grinding in her head. The whole class was staring at her like she had just been checkmated. She didn't find that time fact cool anymore. She sent Johnny to the office for disrupting the lesson plan. Johnny, Mrs. Gable's crashing out right now. Look, you're a menace. You're technically right. I could tell you, hey, doesn't matter, your paper was late, you get a 0. But I think you're smart. So, I'm gonna make her give you a B- if the essay's good, but you gotta promise to stop using the Pacific Islands time zone to bypass getting your homework done on time, okay? I promise, Principal Milkman, and you got a B-. Oh, kid's a genius. She made her students come in on Saturdays. This 10th grade teacher, Mrs. Hayes, spent 6 months trying to make it mandatory for students to come in on Saturdays. But the principal, it's a weekend, Hayes, you can't force kids to come in. Mrs. Hayes didn't argue much. She just smiled and went on her way. But she spent the next 3 weeks building a secret final exam. Friday afternoon, 3 p.m., the entire class gets an email. Saturday session, not required, but encouraged. About a quarter of the students showed up. The rest of the class didn't because, well, it was a Saturday. Good morning, scholars. I'm about to share with you something exclusive. She then taught what was going to be on next week's exam, but then she passed out a packet. A cipher code. A code that would directly relate to how the students filled out the test. And if you didn't have this code, you would fail the test. Well, Monday comes around and she passes out this 50-page packet. And it looks like it was written in Egyptian. Miss, I can't read this. The translation guide was provided during our Saturday session. You have 45 minutes to complete the exam. Absolutely insane. She gave students a key code on that Saturday to a test that she wrote in her own made-up language to trick the other students. That's nuts. The parents rioted, the principal got involved, but somehow she didn't get in trouble at all. Mrs. Hayes, hey listen, the Saturday session was optional, but I can still make the test whenever I want, right? And I guess she was right. That's crazy. A substitute teacher walks into class. She's taking attendance, butchering every single name. She gets through everything, but then someone's like, miss, you forgot about Denise. Oh, Denise, yeah, she's here. Right there. And the kid points to an empty desk. The substitute's like, I don't see anybody there. But then another student's like, she's just very quiet. But yeah, she's here, see? Okay. The sub then manually put in Denise's name on the sheet and wrote next to it, here. 10 minutes later, the substitute's handing out papers. Someone says, hey miss, don't forget to give Denise one. And the sub does. Oh, you're right. My bad. Here you go, Denise. Miss, she also needs a pencil. Oh, okay, here, Denise. So now, obviously, no one is sitting at that desk, but this teacher is going along with it? Or maybe she's actually believing that someone is there, but she just can't see them? By the end of class, she's talking to this empty desk like it's a real person. Okay, does everyone understand today's lesson? Denise, how about you? Yeah, she gets it, miss. And on the sub sheet to turn into the teacher, the substitute wrote, Denise was quiet today, but she completed all her work. Overall, class was great. The next day, the real teacher comes back and reads the notes. Class, who the heck is Denise? And everyone burst out laughing. I bet they had that sub thinking she was going crazy. They respected Denise though, huh? Here's what happens when you sell snacks to a rich kid. This guy's running a locker snack business to save up for a computer. Well, one kid ordered a bag of hot Cheetos and a Gatorade. Easy transaction. So he brings it to this kid's locker, and the kid looks at the Cheetos all weird. Yo, man, this bag is way too wrinkled. Okay, I'll go grab a fresh one for you. So he runs back to his locker and grabs a fresh bag. He comes back, and now this kid's saying the Gatorade's wrong. Also, dude, this is the wrong flavored Gatorade. You said blue Gatorade. I did not say blue Gatorade. He said blue Gatorade. Well, while he's standing there, you know what, it's fine, I'll take it, okay? Well, the kid's standing there waiting to get paid when the rich guy starts showing his friends pictures of the yacht his parents just bought. Hey, Kevin, Deacon, check this out, man. That's a big boat. It's my parents. Hey, can I get the money? Jeez. Impatient, are we? Fine, here. He takes the money, he goes. The next day, the rich kid stops him in the hallway. Hey, yo, dude, those Cheetos were stale yesterday. I want a full refund. The Cheetos weren't stale, they were brand new. But he didn't know what to say, so he just refunded the guy. He says it doesn't matter. He's sure karma will catch up to this kid one day. Here's what happens when you ban food delivery at school. One Friday afternoon, the school sends out an email. DoorDash and Uber Eats and all delivery apps are banned. And they did this because they wanted the students to spend money in the cafeteria, like $7 for a piece of pizza. Well, Monday morning, this kid named Tyler realizes he has a free period right before lunch, and he also has a car. Vroom vroom. So, right before his free period, he tells some people, and he begins taking orders. Okay, I got 5 people for McDonald's, I got 3 people for Wendy's, and I got 7 people for Taco Bell. So during his free period, he would take all the orders and he would go and get all this food. And when he had the people give him money, he always made sure they gave him a bit more than the order actually cost. So he was making profit. By the end of the week, he had done 50 orders. He would get the food during his free period, and during lunch, he would just pass it out. Be discreet. He would put all the food in regular brown paper bags before he brought them to the customers, so the school didn't see the actual fast food bags. Genius. And the cafeteria line began getting smaller and smaller every day, while this kid's orders began getting bigger and bigger. It got to the point where he couldn't accommodate all these people. What do you mean you can't take my order? I've got like 30 people to feed today. The school tries to shut this down, but the kid was allowed to leave during his food period. He was basically just sharing the food with other students, so they couldn't. What they had to do was lower the prices of cafeteria food. And then this kid's business began to dwindle, but it still kept going, because outside food was still way better than school food. Gotta respect the hustle. Why do lifeguards care more about a frickin' sandwich than somebody drowning? This guy went to a public pool, and he got yelled at before he was even in the water. He was standing a few feet away from the pool, eating a sandwich, when the lifeguard blew his whistle. Hey, no food near the pool! Go throw it away and wash your hands! Meanwhile, there's a literal diaper floating in the water, but this lifeguard doesn't care. The guy goes away, tosses the sandwich and washes his hands, comes back to the pool, and does a cannonball. Hey! No cannonballs! Too much splash! What? But here's the wildest part. He calls this guy up. Come here. And he starts lecturing him. You know, cannonballs cause a huge splash and waves that disrupt other swimmers. He's going on and on. But at the same time, there's literally somebody in the pool actively drowning. Hey, no, you listen to me. No, but there's... The lifeguard doesn't even glance over. Somebody's drowning. Shut up. Luckily, somebody else jumped in the water and saved this guy. But the lifeguard did nothing. Later that day, the same guy the lifeguard was yelling at was drinking a water bottle by the pool. And the lifeguard kicked him out because having unsealed water bottles was apparently against the rules. I don't know. That's just crazy. It's lunch. One group goes to sit down at their normal spot, but another group's already sitting there. This is our table. We've been sitting here all week. Nobody moves. It's a standoff. That's when somebody from one of the groups says, hey guys, why don't we all just share the table? So they all cram into this one table. Awkward small talk at first. Then somebody from group A comments, yo, aren't you that guy that cried during the fire drill? It was one time, dude, the alarm was loud. Group A starts laughing. Well, group B fires back. Well, didn't you fail the easiest history test last semester? At least I didn't pee my pants during prom. Now it's on. Insults are flying. Old drama resurfacing, one kid slaps another guy. A teacher walks over. Hey, what's going on here? Both groups go silent. Nothing, we're just bonding. Yeah, sure you are. The teacher walks away. For the rest of the lunch, they sit there silent. But the next day, they both sat at that table again, and instead of insults, they were actually telling stories and laughing, so I don't know. I think they all became friends. So this kid gets paired with the laziest person in class for a group project, and he decides to handle it in the most savage way possible. They're supposed to be splitting the work 50-50. 50-50. So he messages his partner one night, hey, you want to do the research for the slides? The next day he responds, I don't know, you pick what I do. So the guy decides to split it in half. All right, I emailed you half the slides, send me yours when you're done. Because that sounds fair, but then after that, radio silence. Yo bro, did you finish? Nothing. He tries talking to him during school. Hey dude, gotta go man. The heck? It's the night before the project. Yo man, are you done? Partner responds, yeah, don't worry about it. Presentation day, they're up third, and this guy's got his part ready to go. Clean, put together, He did his research, he's solid. His partner shows up with nothing. Literally nothing. Bro, where's your part? I thought we're just gonna wing it. The teacher calls him up. Okay, let's see what you two have. They stand up and this kid goes first. He goes to his slides. Okay, so we each did half of the work. I'm gonna go first. He presents it flawlessly. He's confident, well-researched, and then he looks to his partner. All right, man, your turn. He freezes. The partner gets up there to try to wing it and he presses the button to go to the next slide. And all the slide said was, this section was assigned to Carlos. Bro, you didn't do it? You didn't do your part? No. He gets full credit. Yes. You get 0. And the kid sat down, proud of himself, while his partner stood up there completely shocked. The rest of the class just laughed. Yo, that's savage. It's senior year, middle of class, when all of a sudden people hear, look, a horse. People step out into the hallway and they see it. There's a horse just trotting down the hallway. The principal gets on the intercom and is like, everybody stay in your classrooms. Yeah, nobody listened. Kids are pouring out trying to see. They got their phones out. Yo, whose horse is that? The funny part is this one teacher, he encouraged it. He told one of the kids in his class, hey, Billy, come here. Yeah, what's up? Dude, I dare you to go ride that horse. Okay. So now you have this horse trotting down the hallway, a bunch of students standing to the side, filming it, and this one kid jogs up and hops on the horse. People are losing their minds, and at this moment, the horse is heading right for these big doors in the edge of the school, and students run up and they open the doors. That's when the kid who jumped on the horse is like, go! And he gallops right outside the school. Now, the school was right next to these farms, so that's obviously where the horse came from, but this kid just goes. He's now outside of school on this random horse that somehow got in, galloping around fields of corn. And honestly, that would be the best day of school ever. Have you ever wondered how some parents can be so cruel? There was this family where the dad had a rule for everything. No phones at the dinner table. No friends over without a 48-hour notice. Bedtime at 9 p.m. sharp, even on weekends, no exceptions. And his teenage daughter had to keep a handwritten log of what she did every single hour of every single day. And if you don't do it, you're in big trouble. Which is completely insane. Well, one day, this girl forgot to log what she did after school, and her dad completely loses his mind. Takes her phone, her laptop, her journals, her books, and her TV, everything she enjoys, and he locks them in the garage. You can have them back when you write me an apology letter. Well, she wrote one. Not good enough, do it again. Then she wrote another one. Not good enough, do it again. She did it like 30 or 40 times before she just gave up. She never gets her stuff back, and the dad doesn't budge. He keeps saying, I told you, write me an acceptable apology and you get it back. But nothing was ever good enough for him. After this girl turned 18, she never spoke to her father ever again. And I think she's way better off. That's messed up. Everybody called this one kid weird. How about Scabolinda? Huh? He didn't talk much, he ate lunch by himself, always wore the same hoodie. Then there was this other kid named Mason. And Mason wasn't just a bully, he was the biggest bully in school. I'm kind of the frickin' man. He would flick people's ears in the hallway, kick people's shins for no reason. He would sometimes give kids actual swirlies in the toilet. Well, one morning, Mason's at his locker before first period, and he grabs the combination lock. He feels something. He looks at his fingers. It's brown, thick. He sniffs it. What is this? Someone yells, bro, why are your hands brown? What is that smell? Bro's got poop on his hands. Mason starts wiping it on his jeans, but it just makes it worse. Now his jeans are brown. Dude, you're gross. Turns out somebody covered the combination lock to his locker with dog poop that morning. By third period, everyone's calling Mason Poop Hands. Yo, you see that guy? That's Poop Hands. And that nickname sticks for 2.5 years. Guess who was the person that put the poop on that locker? The weird kid. I know I'm weird. And sometimes people need to be humbled. He didn't tell people about that for years, but when they heard, they all thought he was a legend. And people still call the bully Poop Hands every now and then. A crazy private school rule. So this private school in a small town had this rule. Nobody's allowed to have curly hair on school grounds. Which, like, what do you mean? But this is serious. One day, this new kid shows up at this school. It's his first day. And you guessed it, he has curly hair. Hey, I'm Corey. Oh, Corey. come with me. The principal takes Corey to her office. She pulls out a hair straightener from her desk, and she begins straightening Corey's hair. When I'm done with you, this hair will be straight. 10 minutes later, Corey leaves the office with a completely different hairstyle. He was incredibly confused and sad. He told his parents, and his parents were ticked off. They complained and complained and complained. But for some reason, this small town, this small school, had a lot of connections, so the rule never changed. Curly hair, not allowed. And that is completely messed up. They're going on a family trip, and their flight is at 5 in the morning. That's so early, Dad. It's just for 3 days. Pack your backpack. You'll be fine. Backpack. He nods. He packs his backpack. His parents don't check it. They assume he's got it. We'll fast forward to the next morning. They're standing in the security line. Shoes off, laptops out. The dad's stressing. I'm stressing. The kid steps up to put his backpack in the conveyor belt, and he tells the security guy, there's a surprise in there. The guy's like, excuse me? There's a surprise in there for everybody. Hey, yo, what? At this point, the security guard's like, yo, what the heck does this kid have in his backpack? They pull the kid to the side. They pull the backpack away. The mom is like, oh my God, what did you pack in there? You'll see. Security guard unzips the backpack. His face changes. Son, what did you pack? You, come here, okay? What the heck is this? Inside the backpack was dozens and dozens of rubber duckies. Tiny, bright yellow, each one wearing a different outfit. Sir, ma'am, your child packed about 200 rubber ducks. You can have one. So can your friend. Everybody can have one. Everybody around starts laughing, and the kid passes out these rubber duckies to as many people as he can. And honestly, that is super wholesome. This math teacher was a total freaking nightmare. She required every student to have a specific scientific calculator in her class. The calculator cost $100, but if you forgot yours, too bad. She wouldn't lend you one, and you were not allowed to share or borrow off of anybody else's when you were in the classroom. Well, one Saturday, a junior named Marcus was biking in his neighborhood when he spots a massive garage sale. Oh, that looks sick. He goes up and takes a closer look, and he finds an absolute gold mine. This tech hoarder was selling a box of 15 perfect condition graphing calculators for $1 each. Well, Marcus didn't even blink. He bought all of them. I'm gonna buy all of them. He dropped $15, took everything home, and he realized he was sitting on over $1,000 of technology. Well, the next Monday, he brought these to school to start a little business. He would stand right outside of that rude teacher's classroom door. It would be 5 minutes before the bell, and he would rent them out to students that didn't have these calculators. Hey, psst, you need one? I know she's tough. $5 to rent for the class period. Oh my God, thank you so much. There's a test today. I was gonna fail it. I got you, dog. After a while, word spread and people would just message him like, hey, got any calculators today? I need one for the class. Yeah, I got a few left. I'll meet you by the bathroom in 10. The teacher eventually said that students could no longer rent these calculators, but that rule never really stuck because at that point, she's just using any excuse to fail students. This kid retired at the end of the year, and he sold those calculators to people that would buy them for half the price. But he swears he saved a lot of people's grades that year, and that is respect. This school had the stupidest rule. If it was a super hot day, kids couldn't play at recess. They had to just sit down. But here's the thing that didn't make any sense. They weren't sitting down inside or in the cafeteria or anywhere. They still went outside. They just couldn't play. Okay, it's a hot one today, kids. Have a seat. And they would make the kids sit on this black pavement. Oh, ma'am, why can't we just sit inside? It's so hot out here. 'Cause it's recess, duh. 20 minutes later, the bell would ring, recess would be over, kids would stand up, they're sweating profusely, and they would stumble inside. Now, I guess it's better than running around in the heat. You know, kids could pass out. But still making them sit on the ground in the same heat is kind of just as messed up. And they weren't allowed to go inside. I think this was in Arizona, and that makes sense, I think. No high fives allowed. Huh? Why? Because it's assault. That was the actual rule. And no, that doesn't make sense. People couldn't celebrate high five each other. If a teacher saw a high five, they would jump in, pull it apart, and both those kids were getting to frickin' detention. And they always said, aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. So that's dumb rule number 1. Then they started a new rule. The only liquids or beverages that students were allowed to bring into school were water and milk. And if it wasn't water or milk, they would take it away. They would check students' lunch bags every single morning as they were walking into school. Coffee from home? Gone. Flavored water? Gone. Gatorade? Gone. Tea? Get the heck out of here. One student had laryngitis and his throat was hurting him bad. The doctor said he could bring tea with hot honey to school. He even had a note, but the school took that note, ripped it, and dumped that tea out. You know the rules. I hate my life. And this was a kindergarten through 12 school, and these rules applied to everybody. The school also served the same lunch every day, 3 chicken nuggets and 3 carrots, and kids weren't allowed to bring anything else. Nobody knew what the point of this was, but what I do know is that sounds like the worst school ever. This kid's a genius. I'm a genius. He's super smart and he wants to make some money at school. So he finds this pen online. And this pen has a tiny strip of paper inside. It's like a scroll. You can pull it out, write stuff on it, and then you put it back in. Well, he buys 20 of them. And like I said, he was smart. And he begins selling these pens as cheat sheets for tests. For his history class, he would write important dates down, important information that would be on the test. For biology, he would draw mini diagrams. For math, he would put straight up formulas on there. And if he somehow got the actual test copy early, he would put the entire answer key in tiny letters on that little scroll. So now, whenever there's a test in any of his classes, he's got 20 of these pens with the same stuff written down in them. And he sells them for $10 each. Yo, I got today's cheat sheet. You in? Yeah, here's $10. And they sold. But that wasn't the crazy part. He had a separate cheating business only for the people that would sit close to him. You see, he had another pen, and the top of that pen had this little rotating dial. And whenever you would rotate it, the top of the pen would change colors. Blue, orange, yellow, green. And so he would tell the kids around him, before the test starts, blue is A, orange is B, yellow is C, and green is D. Follow closely. And then the test would begin and he would answer them one at a time. Once he answered a question, he would adjust the color. Then he would move on. Answer that one, put a different color. And people around him are following slowly, copying down what the color is saying. And it just looks like he's just fidgeting with his pen, but it's a secret code. Well, one day, this kid's wearing a black hoodie with a hood up. He's in the hallway. The principal sees him exchanging something for money. Take this.
Hey, who is this? Hey, you!
The kid begins running away and the principal chases him. The kid sneaks into a stairway, takes his hoodie off, he's wearing a shirt underneath, he puts a hat on and some glasses.
Oh, hey, kid in the black hoodie, where'd he go?
He went that way. Thanks. Get to class. And that principal didn't even realize that that was the kid he was chasing. And he continues that test cheating business for the rest of the year. And he made some pretty decent money. You gotta respect the hustle. He was trying to impress a girl. Yeah, I'm freaking strong. Okay. So, to try and impress her, he was gonna punch this kid that was standing right by him. Watch this. But what he didn't know is that kid was quick. And as the punch began to fly towards his face, he ducked. But that kid was standing right in front of a concrete wall. So the dude that was punching him's hand went straight into it. His wrist is completely broken. Teachers come running, a crowd gathers, and both kids were pulled aside. The dude that broke his wrist was taken to the nurse's office, and the other kid was taken to the principal's office. We don't tolerate fighting in this school. I didn't fight, he just tried to punch me. Yeah, well, he broke his wrist. Well, what did you want me to do? Not move out of the way? Yes, your face is softer than the wall. And that kid got suspended. That is not okay. This elementary school banned Pokemon cards, especially the trading of Pokemon cards. Too distracting, too many arguments, it was a big problem. Teachers started confiscating them at the door. So for the first week, it was pretty quiet. But then one kid one day shows up with stacks of something else. Rectangles of construction paper, laminated in clear tape. And each of the construction papers had something random drawn on it. Come here. I made my own trading cards. He made his own trading cards. Thousands of them. So what he did is he created a formula, and then he just repeated that, like cards of a mailbox, a broken pencil, a rock with a smiley face on it, and on the back he would write stuff like trash can, 100 HP, wet sock, ultra rare, milk, super ultra rare, and he called them real world cards. He would sit at home for hours, cutting, measuring, drawing, making sure that only a few packs had the milk or the wet socks, and he would sell these packs at school, $5 each. People laughed at first, but they started taking this seriously when someone pulled a golden fire hydrant. There was only one golden fire hydrant card that existed in these packs, and so students started wondering, what other rare cards were they? and business began booming. It became a bigger problem than the Pokemon cards, and the school tried shutting it down. But this kid kept making them and selling them. And because it was only construction paper, colored pencils, and tape, he could do this anywhere. People started making counterfeits, so he had to figure out how to show that his were legit. It was insane. Eventually, the school found a way to shut this down as well. But for some time, this kid created the biggest trading card game that school had ever seen. Even bigger than Pokemon.
বিষ খাস বিষ কিন না লইছ
আমি অ্যাঞ্জেল সোনিয়ার লাগে কথা কইলে তোমার সমস্যা কোথায়?
আমার সমস্যা নাই কা
হার বাদে বউ আবার পানি লইছে সেই পানি বিদিছে ফালায়া এমতে করে বউ বারবার পানি আনে আর জামাই বারবার পানি ফালায় দেয়।
আরে হইতাছে মায়া গো আসল ঠিকানা।
তোর বাপে ঠিকই কইছে সাজা যদি আর একটা সপ্তাহ আমগোর বাইক থাকে
এই খুশির খবরটা তো আমি আমার বাসায় দিয়ে দিচ্ছি। আমার আব্বা আপনারে ফোন দিয়া কথা কইব।
হইছে তোমার এই বেটা এই তুই তো আমার মানিজ্জত সব শেষ করে দিছ।
শুধু কি আপনার মান সম্মান আব্বা জান?
কি কইতাছো এগুলো তুমি কইতাছোটা কি? এখন সময় আছে তোমার আমি স্বামী হিসেবে
আমি তোমার লগে অনেক খারাপ আচরণ করছি, তুমি আমার কথা রাগ করো না, চলো না বাড়িতে ফিরে যাই।
আমি যে মারছি এটা যদি ব্যাপারতে জানে মান সম্মান কিছুই থাকবো না, মুখ দেখাবো কেমতে?
আপনাকে পুরো খানদানে মান সম্মান শেষ।
না 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 না
আমরা হইলাম বড় খানদান, আমগুলো গেছে খানদানি রেওয়াজ দেখাইতে। খানদানি কেচা লাগবো মনে হইতেছে।
আপনার মায়ের লগে একটু ক্যাচেল হইছে তো তার জন্য পরে কমুনে আপনার
কে চালু হইছে না?
তোমার বিছানা লাগা
খারাপ না হয় এটা মনে রেখা মন দিয়ে রান্না করবো।
আমার লগে মস্কারি চলতাছে এখানে।
একদম চুপ, একটা চাকা দিয়ে দৌড়া। কি কইতেছো?
কুচি করে না কাইটা ফেলাইছি আব্বা। আমার তো মনে করে যখন ডর দেখাইতে আমি দেখেন আপনি কি করি ঘরে আইলাম না, এখন দেন না আসমানে ঠাড়াল্লাহান একেবারে কাঁপায়া দিমু।
আচ্ছা আপনার
তুমি রাগ করো না।
রাগ তো তুমি করবা, খাড়া চায়া দেও।
আমি তো ভাবছি ডাকাত পড়ছে নি।
এই শাহজাহানগর বাড়িতে ডাকাত আইব এমন কোন মায়ালাল পয়দা হয়েছে নি? দাদায় পড়ছে, তার দাদায় পড়ছে, এবার আমার পালা, আমি পড়ছি।
আরে রাখো তোমার খানদানি রেওয়াজ।
যা করছি ভালো করছি, তোমরা তোমাকে রীতি রেওয়াজ করছো, ভালো করছো, আমি পারুম না। তুমি আমার স্ত্রী, আমি তোমার স্বামী, তুমি আমার পার্টি পাইতে দিবা।
আমাকে খানদানে মাইয়ারা স্বামীর পার্টি পে না।
ইউজ করেন দিকে রুচি আছে আপনার।
আরে রুচি থাকবো না, আমরা খানদান। খবরদার একদম উল্টা পাল্টা কথা কইবা না, কইয়া দিচ্ছি।
আমি কইলাম তোমার মাথা একের বাড়ি মাইরা ফাড়াই ফেলামু।
তোর খানদানে ফেরত যাবার পারে না।
আমি আব্বা আমারে বুঝামু।
কি বুঝাইবা তুমি?
হয় নাই কা তুমি আমারে বুঝাইতে পারতাম, আমারে মারলা। অবশ্য আমগো বংশে
গাছকে এইসব হইতেছে। আব্বা আমি কই যাবো আব্বা? আপনি আমার প্যারা ড্যাডি আব্বা।
এই যে তুই আমার দাঁড়াবি না, দূরে থাক দূরে থাক।
আমি খাটে ঘুমাইছিলাম, আমার লাথি মেরে খাটে হালায় ভাইজান লেটে সারে ঘুমাইছে।
হারামজাদা মিছে কথা কস্তুর।
বউয়ের সেবা সুন্দর করে না করতে পারলে জামাই পিটানোর রেওয়াজও আছে। আই তুমি কুস্তি পারো?
না
জি ভাইজান, ভাবি ফালতু খানদানে কইলাম আজকে তো আপনার বাসু যাই
তো কি টিপে কল্লা
লাগলে হেরাও টিপা দিমু। তুমি বরং আমার হাতটা ব্যথা করতেছে, হাতটা টিপা দাও।
হয়ে যাইবো।
যা মন চায় তাই করো, এই ফোন আমি দিব না। কার লগে কথা কইতাছো? হ্যাঁ
আমার ফোন দাও।
আরে বাপ রে বাপ, কইতেছো কি তুমি? আমার খানদানি পোশাক আমি খুলে ফেলামু, তুমি কি আমার অর্ডার করতেছো?
শিউলিমালা যা কয় তাই অর্ডার।
এসে আমি দেইকা লমু কিন্তু কইয়া দিলাম।
আম্মা
ওই কি ভাবতেছো? ভাবাভাবি বাদ দাও কইলাম। অহনি পোশাক চেঞ্জ করে আসো, নাহলে তোমার সারা রাত গা চুলকাইবে। আমি শাহজাহানের আব্বা আম্মার দিলে চোট পচাইছি, এর প্রতিশোধ নিতে গিয়ে শাহজাহান তোমাকে মধ্যে